Okay, could you start by telling us your name and tell us a little bit about what's going on right now?
My name is Max Bakri. We're over here at Detroit, Michigan, and we're here for the Palestinians that have been occupied for the past 75 years, facing genocide, facing discrimination, facing racism, and we're here to be voices for those who can't have a voice.
How do you feel about the way the United States is handling this so far and their role in all of this?
The United States has been handling this typically how it goes. The same way you see Middle Eastern countries being ridiculed by the U.S. within the past decade through Iraq, Libya, Afghanistan, now Palestine. The lies just continue to keep feeding into their ego. We will not stop until we see some peace from a ceasefire. The USA will not stop a ceasefire. They know what they're doing. The same way how they killed 1 million Iraqis is the same way how they're going to do to the Palestinians.
Now, how do you feel about the conflation between the Jewish identity and Zionism more broadly?
I'm really glad you brought this up. My best friend is Jewish. This is not against Judaism. Judaism are our brothers and sisters in faith. This is against Zionism. There's many Jews that are against the Zionists and the state of Israel. State of Israel is not the same as Judaism. This is not against Jewish people.
Are there any misconceptions that Americans have that you would like to talk about or clarify when it comes to Palestine?
Of course, yes. The sort of difference that you can differentiate from Hamas and Palestinians is completely different. You look at examples from the West Bank where Hamas is not even any side protecting those people, and they are still facing the same genocide and racism and killing of innocent people.
This started before October 7th.
Correct, yeah. So the state of Israel, we know, has been around for 75 years. Hamas, Hezbollah, they're simply a resistance militia that was around 35 years ago. So it's relatively new. And we have to ask ourselves, what is their purpose? What is their mission? Do you think they are strictly out there to harm people or to save them? Save them from the from the genocide that's taking place. That's what we have to ask ourselves. What is their purpose?
They're really conflating Hamas with Palestinians unfairly because most Palestinians in Gaza right now were not even,
Correct. Yes. There's a far more number of Palestinians compared to Hamas. Hamas is simply a resistance group. The state of Palestine does not have a military. So there are people that are backs against the wall and they have no other place to go. Gaza, you cannot leave. It's a blockade. It's a concentration camp. So you have militiants, you have people that have to fight for the protection of it, and this is what Hamas is. It's a resistance group. It's not a military.
Now, Israel says that they're doing targeted strikes, that they're being very selective about the targets that they go after. Do you believe that personally?
With Israeli strikes, they are simply having one state of mind and at the strikes, and that is just pushing out the Palestinians as much as possible. They're bombing the north side of Gaza. They want to push them far into Sinai as much as possible because they want to occupy the entire state of Palestine. This is what Zionist is. This is what Zionism, this is the backbone of it. They do not care who is in their way. They want that piece of land. Whether or not 500 babies are in their way, they're going to take that piece of land.
If Palestine's the size of Detroit, how could Israel be specific with their targeted attacks? There's this whole ideology that they're strictly only going for Hamas and that their Palestinians are being used as human shields, and that's their constant excuse that they're making just to constantly bombard the Palestinian people with bombs, and it's not right, and that's why we're here, and that's why we're speaking up. And there's 20,000, 30,000 people here probably today. Where's the crimes? We're peaceful. Muslims, Christians, this is not even just about religion. This is about all walks of life, all people from different backgrounds and ethnicities. We're all here coming together to stop this because this is our money. People that go to Starbucks and McDonald's and all these other places and universities, this is our money that we're funding, and it's almost we have to take accountability that we're almost complicit with this because it matters where our money goes, and this is why we're here, is to boycott these places. And whoever the people that say protests don't do anything, you haven't been here. You haven't seen everything that we've seen today. It's beautiful. People coming together. There's people praying on the floor. This is what we need. Sorry.
humanitarian?
Sorry, say it again.
Say, do you think the failures, like Egypt being blamed by Israel for the humanitarian failures, even though it's their open-air prison and things like that, and then the rushing off of Palestinian death tolls by the Biden administration, don't think this shows a sign of like they're just giving up on trying to put a facade on the Zionist project? Do you think it's reached a sort of breaking point with the Likud and these far-right parties basically being permanent fixtures?
The biggest thing I want to say about the whole Egyptian thing, I think a lot of people are trying to say that, it's Egypt's fault. They're not letting the Palestinian people cross the border. One, Israel told people to evacuate to the south, and then they went and bombed them on their evacuation route. Two, the Palestinian people don't want to evacuate to Egypt. They want their land. This is where their families come from, the 1950s to 1960s to the 1970s. This isn't about going...
And they've had a truce and a treaty for that land. They've already agreed that they are going to live there and that they're still illegally occupying more land. So how are you going to bomb people and tell them to get out of what is you agreed to their land?
And even I imagine the fears if you evacuate, you won't be allowed to ever come.
Exactly, but the thing is...
and these are thousands of generations of livelihood, of sort of, values that they hold, and to walk away from such sort, people are willing to stand their feet, and there's a saying that says if you have to kill for land, then it's not yours, but if you have to die for it, then it is. And that's what the Palestinians are facing as of today.
And I think we forget the right to resist, right? It's an international law, the right to resist, right? If I came, hypothetically, of course, if I came into your house and I kicked you out and did something to your family previously, would you not have resentment toward me if you did that towards your whole family?
It's a far different picture too. It's not just walking into your house, because I could go and buy any other houses. I could live off the street. I could have welfare. You think Palestinians have welfare? You think they have a place to go to? They have nothing. They bomb it. There's no welfare. There's no shelters that they can go to. This is their only piece of land. And they even bombed transportations to Egyptians. They barricaded the seas. You can't even go on a boat to go somewhere else.
They're targeting journalists like you guys, like yourselves. They target journalists. The Zionist regime targets journalists so they don't get the truth out, right, from Gaza. They target journalists, medics, people that are dying over there, risking their life to help the dying children and innocent Palestinian civilians. Exactly. They cut off the internet communications to make the whole world up.
And bombings, I think that's a consequence of losing your internet and such sources. But coming from my perspective, I'm a nurse myself. When you have people that you're going to take care of, I can't imagine not having resources and doctors and other nurses and anesthesia and surgeries. You have surgeons operating with a flashlight over babies because they have no resource, no anesthesia, they have nothing. They have no medical resources. And what do they all resort to? The biggest thing that they all say in all these videos that you say, Allah, faith. Whether it's Jesus, whether it's Allah, like no matter where religion they come from, they all come down to their faith because that's all they feel like they have left.
And for the longest time, too, Jerusalem has had those Abrahamic faiths. You had Judaism, Christianity, and Islam for the longest time. And we lived in peace up until the Zionists came in, which is, again, separate from Judaism, separate from Jewish,
Palestinian Christians, Palestinian Muslims, Palestinian Jews, they all lived together until the end of World War II, when the collapse of the Ottoman Empire. They all lived peacefully. Christians, Jews, Muslims, no issues until the Zionist regime was formed in 1947, 1948. These guys, they don't care for their own citizen. They have certain doctrines where they kill their own hostages that are Israelis just so that they don't take them and save their lives. They don't even care about their own citizens. We have Israeli citizen girls that has survived and said these guys, resistance fighters, are not here to. They told us to calm down. They told us we're not here to hurt you, until the police. Israeli occupation forces come with heavy fire that killed most of the Israeli citizens themselves. These guys are faking the news. They're trying to make the American public blind to this, and the whole world has to wake up to this.
Do you guys think it's important to identify it as a white supremacist project, seeing as at this point they've even sterilized African Jews who have migrated into the country?
That is a great example. Of course. That conversation can definitely be open, of course, yeah.
All right, winding up here. We'll go one at a time. Just any closing thoughts you want to put out to the people?
We're praying for peace. We want the ceasefire to stop the killing of the innocent children. We want to live in harmony and peace. These are humans just like you and your family. Just because you think that's not your mother dying in Gaza, just because you don't think that's your wife, your child, your grandparents, doesn't mean that's not important. These are humans just like you with dreams, and we got to stop this genocide. And we need the whole world to wake up, and the American public don't get fooled by these politicians. We will never vote for another politician that supports genocide. We will never vote for a politician that stands for Zionism. And we will never stand with any politician that does not want a free Palestine.
Really quickly and short, if mainstream media is your only source of information, you are part of the problem. We live in a day and age where social media is applicable to us because we see civilian videos. There's a huge differentiate of civilian videos versus CNN, Fox News, all these corrupted media outlets. So we have to take everything with a grain of salt when it comes to what we see online.
The biggest thing I want to say is Muslims, Christians, all these people that are here for ceasefire and calling for peace, we are not your enemies. We're not here to cause chaos and ruckus. That's not the purpose of this. This whole purpose is to show the world what's going on. The mainstream media, war is not even fought by military anymore. This is all mainstream media. Mainstream media will get you to hate the people who are being oppressed. I believe it was Malcolm X who said something of that similar sorts. This goes back to everything Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X and all these activists that spoke with. And what happened when they did? Muhammad Ali went to jail. Malcolm X got shot. Like these are what happens to people who speak up against the truth. And you know, and that is why the Palestinians don't mind dying. And that's what is the definition of a martyr, right? When you speak up for what you believe in, and no matter you hold on to your beliefs, and if it is your time and God takes you, then so be it. But that is why they hold on to their faith. But we're not your enemy. We want peace. We don't want to fund war and further killing of Palestinian people. And Lebanon together, you know, Palestinians, Lebanese, Egyptians, Pakistani, like we're all, like it's not just Palestinians here, right? I'm Lebanese myself. But the thing is, if Israel can't be controlled or stopped, what's next? Lebanon's next, right? Lebanon's next. Like these they don't stop. So boycotts are necessary, support, ceasefire, all that stuff is necessary to speak up and for one another.
What about you? You look like you have something to say.
Yeah. I wanted to start with, we've all said a lot of similar things. Something I really want to note on, everything here is funded by our tax dollars, right? On top of that, what they are going to focus on, because they have lost the PR war. I want you guys to understand that when they said, we are the population now, we are the popular ones, where we are the majority, that's true. They have lost the PR war. Everybody is seeing these things. Now what they're going to do is they're going to cause disunity and chaos. They're going to try to get, if people of different faiths arguing with each other, they're going to try to get Muslims amongst each other arguing with each other about nationality and this and that. They're going to get different races arguing with each other because they know that if a people are united, they can't be defeated. That's all I want to say.
I have one thing, just basically saying if Israel really wanted to like get rid of Hamas with what they were doing, this is not the right way to go about it, because with all this violence, it's just going to radicalize more people, and it's just going to be an endless cycle of violence. So we have to sit down, stop fighting, and solve this peacefully.
Thank you so much, fellas.